Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. And we're flying high. That's what's happening today. Special guest. We got Rickey Torrence. Now, he is air traffic controller. That's what I'm saying, air traffic controller. All of you know what an air traffic controller is. You've been on those flights and you've been on your knees and you say, hope we may have a good landing. Rickey, welcome to the Ed Brown Show.
Thank you. It's
Rickey
good to be
Torrence.
Here. That's right.
Now, this is fantastic. Here you are into a field that everybody, sooner or later, has to be involved in, indirectly.
Yes.
Now, tell us about how did you get involved into the field of air traffic controller?
Well, you know, I was spent 6 years teaching, and I began to hear all the buzz about the need for air traffic controllers, and there were some emails that went around regarding the qualities of a good air traffic controller. And I felt like I met those qualities, and I began to look more into it. And right in Baltimore, near where I was teaching, there was a new CTI school that was just starting, and I spoke with the program director, and he was excited about the program, and that excitement just went right into me, and you know, within a matter of weeks, I was enrolled into the program.
Okay, now what, you have something with the First Baptist. They, Pastor Jenkins, was he one of the people that mentors that got you involved?
Well, you know, Pastor John Jenkins at the First Baptist Church of Glenarden, he is a pilot himself,
right?
And through the aviation ministry under Mr. Donnie Simons, there, they're doing a lot of good things. You know, with the community regarding the field of aviation.
Good, fantastic. Now tell us something about your background as far as what school did you go to?
The Community College of Baltimore County. I graduate next weekend, as a matter of fact.
Oh, congratulations!
And thank you.
We're celebrating your
that's right,
graduation.
That's right.
I just returned from a graduation yesterday.
Yep. So I'll have a cap and gown on, you know, this time next week.
No kidding.
Yes.
Congratulations to Rickey.
Thank you. And you know, so they've had a program, an aviation program established there for quite some time. A really nice program. They've turned out a lot of good pilots and flight attendants from Baltimore. And from all over, you know, that Maryland area. And just recently they started this collegiate training initiative program, which the FAA is using to prepare people for the job as an air traffic controller.
Okay.
So I'm part of the first graduating class there.
Congratulations.
For that particular program.
Right. And what's the name of the program?
It's called, you know, Collegiate Training Initiative. It's sponsored by the FAA. So.
Okay. Then you want to give us some ideas what's this about? A lot of people just take it for granted. You know, you go up and go down, but hey, it's a lot of work involved.
It is. And, you know, a lot of people confuse us for being the guys on the ground doing the flag waving, guiding planes in.
No kidding.
Those are air marshals.
Yes.
Well, they have a very important job too. But it's very different from being an air traffic controller.
Okay, give us the...
So I brought some materials here to kind of explain how the air traffic control system works. So there are several different levels of air traffic control. The one that most people are familiar with is at the tower.
Yeah, all of us look for the tower.
That's right.
When we're coming in, you know, well, that's the airport over there. How do you identify it?
That's
you
correct.
look at that tower.
So
and that's where you hibernate, right?
Well, right. That's where the frontline air traffic controllers are working. But they only deal with planes that are in their very first or very last phase of flight here, just around the general airport space. So once they leave the airport, they have to climb to a very high altitude where they're in control by someone else.
And what is that, 10,000, 20?
Well, you know what, it varies depending on the airspace, but usually it's about 18,000 feet, or flight level 180. So what happens is there's a facility called a TRACON. Some people have heard of that word TRACON, and they assist planes going from the airport up to that high altitude and planes coming from that high altitude down to the airport. So then as a plane leaves the airport, goes through the TRACON, then it gets passed off to what we call the center, or the ARTCC, Air Route Traffic Control Center. And the center monitors all those flights that are at altitude, as we say, you know, around 30,000 feet. you can imagine a plane at 30,000 feet passing over BWI is not going to communicate with the people way down on the ground at the airport.
Right.
They're communicating with the people in the centers. So that just gives you a quick overview of how that system works, and then as the plane approaches the airport it's destined to, it goes back through another TRACON where it's passed off to that final destination at the airport.
Well, what happens when there's a weather problem or there's backup, or how do you? That's tough to handle.
At every major air traffic facility, there's an entire department devoted to the management of traffic. It's referred to as the Traffic Management Unit, or TMU, and they communicate with one another to figure out how to best plan their method of dealing with the weather, whether they're going to hold flights on the ground and just let certain flights through, or maybe fly an airplane through a hole between two storms.
Who makes those decisions?
You know what? At the very top of the air traffic system, there's the command center. So it's the Air Traffic Control System Command Center, and they are sort of, they look out over the traffic management of the entire system, and they have the final say on what happens. So.
Well, the different airlines, they have no control. They can't push their planes ahead of another.
They don't have the authority to do that, but it's almost like a collaboration where the command center is in direct contact with the airliners, and they kind of can almost negotiate what flight should go through, what flight should be held.
Okay. When you say negotiate, for instance, I would say the president's plane's coming in on runway 35.
Oh, that's it.
Okay, well, although a flight is scheduled for that, they will hold that flight until that plane comes in.
Absolutely. It could depend on who's on the flight. It could also depend on any connecting flights. If you have a flight leaving from DCA that has tons of people that are connecting, they need to make those flights versus a flight going from A to B.
Because a connecting flights have a priority.
Exactly.
I know I've been in that situation where I've been in Detroit and Chicago, boy. You talk about connected flights.
That's right.
When you go in there, you don't know what's going to happen.
That's right.
As far as connecting flights is concerned.
So there are several other factors too that go into play, and these decisions must be made rather quickly. And another example they gave us at the command center, an airline who gives way, say North, or I guess not Northwest, but say American gives way to Southwest, during this current storm. The next storm, Southwest might, want to give way to American. So it's kind of they're all working together.
They're working together for the benefit of the public.
That's right. That's correct.
To improve service.
That's correct. And safety.
And safety. Well, safety first.
Safety first.
Safety first.
That's
improve service.
Yep.
Right. Because see, most of us, we get pretty irritated, when we get there and the flight has been delayed an hour and we spent 2 hours going through security and things like that, and then we sit there. What do you think of the ruling that they made on the fact that they can't hold the individual on the tarmac, but for a short period of time?
That kind of goes into a world of safety that is handled at FAA headquarters in DC. But that's also a safety issue.
The controllers get involved with that too.
A little bit. Mostly it's people who were formerly maybe controllers or maybe in the safety industry or in the Department of Transportation who get into the higher ranks of the FAA and sort of have knowledge over what makes the system work best. It's not always controllers.
I see.
But people who are in the field nonetheless. And they decide what's best for the safety of the entire system. And
that's for all the airlines.
That's for all the airlines and all the policies that everyone follows.